You are watching. Pause. We pause for a second or two. How do we keep life coherent when so much is changing? This is episode 235. When there is no Lagom. In today's episode, we will talk about a Swedish term called Lagom. The emotional situation that we're talking about today is our long-term situation. It's for all those times when we think about our future. It's about when we make plans. It is also for when we worry, when we are anxious about our place in the world, where we are going, what is our personal role in all of this. And the emotional skill of today's episode is specific skill, Lagom. Lagom is a Swedish word that means when something is just right, when something is just enough. It is not too much and it is not too little. It's when we find that sweet spot in life. A specific skill Lagom is specific for our long-term situation. Today's episode is called When There Is No Lagom. So today we're talking about those times when we are making plans for our future or when we worry about our future and we pause for a second or two and we try to find a way or some alternative, some option that feels lagom, that feels just right. Not too much, not too little. Today's episode is about when we find ourselves in a situation when we pause, but we find no lagom. We find no option that feels right. We only find options that feel like different versions of wrong. Like choosing the lesser evil among multiple evils. When there is no lagom. So we pause and recognize what is going on. We recognize the different options that we have in front of us. And then we see that there is no lagom at the moment. There are only more or less bad options. So then what it becomes is, what do we do before we have made our selection? What do we do during our selection as we are moving through it? And what do we do after having gone through it, after having made the selection? These three. So first we pause and we have an array of different bad choices, and our job comes down to damage control, trying to choose the lesser evil out of these options. So we choose the one that feels relatively better than the others. And this part has this sort of powerless feeling to it, that it doesn't really feel like a choice when we have to choose something bad, be it something relatively less bad than the other, but doesn't really feel like a choice we like. It is a choice, but it doesn't feel that good. And then we move on, and we are then during our selection, we are moving through our option. And when something does not feel lagom, when something feels too much or too little, what that really means is that in the process of moving through it, we will feel, or we will be changed in the process. Specific skill lagom is about finding the option where we have control. And choosing something that does not feel lagom, it changes us. That's what lagom is about. It's about recognizing when something is lagom, we are moving through something where we feel control. But when we move through something that does not feel lagom, feeling too much or too little, then we will not have as much control as we would like. And the effect is that we are changed. We are affected. Whenever we lose control, we are changed in the process. So while we are moving through the second part, when we're moving through our choice, sometimes it is possible to pause. Sometimes we are able to pause for a second or two and recognize that, now I do not feel control. Now I am being at the mercy of something. Now I am being changed in one way or another. Sometimes that is possible, to pause while moving through this bad option. At other times, it is not possible to pause. Sometimes when we move through something difficult enough, something where we feel little or no control, it is simply not possible to pause. It's just too overwhelming. And that's a tough one. When we just feel like a leaf in the wind, not able to pause, not able to reflect upon what is happening to us. That's hard. And that is sometimes the case. That is sometimes the case even when we have paused beforehand, even when we have made the choice so that the choice we made is the least bad choice. Even then, sometimes we cannot pause during moving through it. Sometimes that is the case, unfortunately. And then, when we are through our choice, when we have moved through it, we have come to the other side. And there, something will have happened to us. We will be changed somewhat. We will be a somewhat different person on the other end. We have experienced a period of time with little or no control. Our ego is not feeling too well. We might feel ashamed. We might be disappointed in ourselves, in other people, in life. And at this point, more often than not, it is possible to pause. Once we have moved through the thing, it is often possible to pause. Most often it is. So we pause and regret. We pause and feel bad about it. And here, our reaction to whatever it felt like moving through something bad, moving through something where we had little or no control. Here I guess it comes down to personality, just who we are as a person. How we deal with not always being in charge. Sometimes just being at the mercy of someone else or something else. Comes down to personality, I guess. And some of us wish to be alone with the experience, not really sharing it with anyone, not really talking about it, perhaps dealing with it on our own, perhaps writing or expressing it in some kind of way. And some of us want to share the experience. Some of us want to find others who have been through something similar. Perhaps not something exactly the same, but at least something similar, to make some sort of connection with another person in some experience where we had little or no control. It's a special kind of connection being made there. Sometimes that is the case. Sometimes that's what we want to do. And then, further down the line, sometimes something is a bad choice for us the first time we do it. Sometimes we have little or no control the first time we move through something. But then when we do it again, then we have a little bit of control. Everything else the same kind of option, the same kind of choice. But the second time we have a little bit of control while doing it, because we have done it before. Sometimes that is the case. Sometimes we simply have to move through something bad, something not lagom, again and again. With each time gaining a little bit more control, until after a while we might actually have quite a bit of control. Sometimes that is the case. But also, the opposite is sometimes true, that sometimes we move through something bad and afterwards we have learned nothing. So doing it again, no extra control, just always hopeless. The thing about Lagom, specific skill Lagom, is that we all feel very strongly about it. We feel very strongly about having control, being in charge. And we also feel very strongly about losing control, not being in charge. Someone else being in charge. So we are not neutral about this. We feel very strongly about it. That's it for today. Thank you.